Okay, so now we're on to the most exciting part of the painting, and that is when we get to add a few more details. We have all of our, pretty much all of our major elements. So this is a part we're going to wrap it up, and I'm using a small to a medium-sized brush, and I want to go ahead and put in some darker areas. So I'm going to take some green here on my brush, mixing up a little puddle of that. I'm also going to rinse my brush off and grab some blue because I want to get more bluish kind of a green for some of the shadows that I might see on those leaves. I'm going to work directly on the dry paper and then put a few strokes of this darker color right here because I want these leaves to stand out. I want them to jump off the page. And how you get that is by putting in some contrasting values. And then once I put this color down, I'm going to swipe that with a little bit of water so it spreads out. Okay, and then the same thing over here. Put a little bit of that contrasting darker color right on the edge and then swipe it, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit more color right here. So that's going to give it some more contrast. And then I may even want to take some of this color and put lots of water with it so it's nice and thin. And then right in between, I'm going to start painting in a more bluish green leaf that is right behind this tulip here. Okay, let's clean up that edge a little bit. And then what I can do right now is just pull this color down and then up. So getting sort of a lighter leaf. Some of the other leaves that are in the foreground are darker, so I want to go ahead and just lighten this one up and then pull it around. So here we have another leaf, just to add something in that area. Okay, now I'm going to take a look at some of these tulips and see what else I need to do to finish them off. Now I need to sneak in a little stem right at the base of this tulip, because we don't want that tulip just kind of floating in midair, right? We want to put a nice stem in there. I also want to take just a wee bit of brown and add it to this green, okay? And then right in here, I want to put a little bit of darker color here and also right in there. And that makes the stem look like it's more rounded when you have a dark and light side. So we have that. Now looking again at my tulips, I am going to think about how I can put some extra details so they really pop off the page. Coming back to some of this dark purple, okay, I'm going to get some of this and I'm going to work directly on the dry paper. There's a little bit of a triangle in there, and really what that triangle is, it's just a little bit of a dark shadow that's inside those curly leaves. Sometimes you'll see curly petals. Sometimes you'll see how petals have a little bit of a rounded edge. So that's exactly what we're working on right now. It's putting in some of those darks. And then of course we'll go ahead and pull this color down. Okay, and over here. And we'll darken this little area and then darken it up inside there. And once I have that, then I'm going to swipe those edges with water. It's going to soften it so it blends really nicely. And then I'm going to come back to this color, and then I'm going to add some color in here and blend it all out. Coming back again to some purple, and then I'm going to swipe this color upwards. Okay, so the flower is going to be darker underneath. So then I'm going to soften that. Do you see that? The way we have two different values where some of those petals are light and underneath it's a wee bit darker. And then of course I'm going to stipple some color right in here so it all blends nicely. Coming back again to some more purple. I'm going to go back now and paint in a couple of lines. You will notice that tulips do have little lines in between. And sometimes you might need to go over the top of something that you already painted and maybe draw out some of that detail a little bit more. That's why I really recommend when you're working in watercolor that you work in layers. It'll really help you a lot. And then over here, once again, I'm going to pull some of this little lines. We often will see those little lines on tulips, and then I might soften that with just a bit of water. Okay, and then I'll come back into some of this really dark purple mix that I have. The paint is really darker, and then paint a little bit of some very dark triangular shapes right in there, and then soften this a wee bit. So that's what we have for that one tulip. And then I want to take a look at this tulip here, and I'm going to see where I can put some more detail in that one. So we'll take some more of this alizarin, and we can come here. Painting some lines right in the center of the petals, kind of pulling that color up and then going ahead and swiping the top with some water. Almost finished with these. We just have a couple more details. We want to get some little triangles of dark color right in between those tulips where it's quite dark in the middle. You'll see that a lot on different flowers. They tend to have more shadows, more darker colors, and sometimes more vibrant color right in those centers. So that's what I'm doing. And then of course, I don't want to forget adding some dark in between those and softening. And then I'm going to move over to this guy here, taking some red and some purple. And then I'm going to paint in long area of some of that darker pinkish red, soften that, and then I'll come over here, and then once again soften this, put more color, dark a little triangle of color right in there. And there's another place too where I just want to add a wee bit more of a shadow, and that's right at the bottom. So we see a contrast between this lighter area and this darker area right on the bottom, and I'm just going to blend it out a little bit with water. Okay, and because we have this nice light leaf that's in the back here, I'm just going to darken the base. And you really can just take the same color that you used before and go over and put another layer, and that will help to darken it up. And then you want to blend a little bit too, so it goes with the layer that you already have underneath. So that's one way that you can do that. And then I'm using some of this right there. And then I want to use some water. Pull it up. And then right on the base, I'm going to take some green, and I mixed some darker green in there. Okay, and we're almost finished. Last thing that I want to do is just put a little bit of dark color right there and soften this with some water. It's all about putting those other values on there, those darker values, and then making sure that we blend it into the layer that we already have underneath, so we don't get any hard lines. So there we have our finished tulip painting. That was a really fun, quick little sketch and a wonderful way just to practice your techniques in watercolor. And just remember that every time you spend time on a painting, you're going to improve on your skills. And I recommend, taking maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day to just practice your skills, and you will see a significant change in your ability to paint in watercolor if you practice like this daily.